I never thought a swimming pool built by my grandfather with his bare hands would bring cops pounding on my front door. But there I was facing two officers with their cruisers idling at the curb. And behind them stood Karen Mitchell, vice president of our HOA, smirking like she already owned my backyard. They said I was illegally blocking residents from the community pool. Community pool. Numb. That pool was my family's legacy, and Karen had just dragged me into a war she couldn't possibly win. Now tell me, what would you do if the police told you to share something that was never theirs to begin with? Act 1. The conflict begins. My name's Michael Blake. A year ago, I walked away from 12-hour shifts in Houston's energy sector, burned out, exhausted, looking for peace. When my dad passed, I inherited Blake Ranch, along with the pool my grandfather built back in 1965. I thought I was moving home to heal. Turns out, I was walking straight into battle. That pool wasn't just concrete and water. My grandfather was a bricklayer, a man who worked himself raw to build dreams for other people. But for his own family, he wanted something permanent. So he dug a hole by the pecan trees, mixed cement wheelbarrow by wheelbarrow, laid every sky blue tile by hand. My earliest memories were their barbecues, cousins splashing till our fingers wrinkled stargazing with my dad. So when I got that first letter in the mailbox from the Maple Rest HOA on official letterhead, it felt like a punch to the gut. You are hereby ordered to unlock and make available the community pool. Community pool. Built 30 years before the subdivision even existed, I laughed it off. Big mistake. 2 days later, Karen herself rolled up in her silver SUV clipboard tucked under her arm like it was a badge of honor. Oversized sunglasses, perfect slacks, fake smile. She strutted right up to my gate. Mr. Blake, residents are complaining. As vice president of the HOA, I'm here to ensure compliance. I told her flat out, Karen, this pool isn't community property. My grandfather built it. Always private. She gave me that tight little laugh dripping with condescension. Our maps show otherwise. Refuse and you'll face daily fines, maybe even liens. That was the first time she said the word lien. Not a request, not a suggestion, just a threat. And I should have known Karen wasn't bluffing. The very next morning, an orange violation notice was taped to my gate. Failure to comply with community pool access requirements. $500 per day. I tore it down, but the damage was done. Karen had declared war. Act 2. Escalation and the turning point. It didn't stop with the notices. Karen doubled down paper after paper, each one more ridiculous. Unapproved fencing. Failure to maintain HOA aesthetic standards. Even unauthorized gatherings by the pool. Those gatherings, just me and my buddy Ray drinking iced tea on the deck. Then one morning the cops showed up. That was Karen's big play. She stood behind the officers with her smug little smile while they accused me of blocking residents from a shared amenity. I showed them my deed tax records, everything. Karen jumped in shouting that she'd been collecting fees for years to maintain it. That slip admitting she took money for something she didn't own made one officer raise an eyebrow. They warned her to stop wasting their time, but she leaned close as she left and hissed, "You may have fooled them today, but this isn't over." And she was right. It wasn't. Within days, a giant sign appeared bolted to my fence. Maple Rest Community Pool, Rules and Hours. My private fence. Some neighbors actually showed up asking when they could swim. They told me, "We've been paying for this for years." That's when it hit me. Karen wasn't just flexing HOA power. She'd been running a con. For the first time, I started doubting myself. I'd lie awake at night wondering, am I the one being unreasonable? Should I just give in, sell the place, escape the stress? Every neighbor's side eye felt like betrayal. Every orange notice felt heavier than the last. For a moment, I almost gave up. But then came the turning point. Emma Porter, old college friend turned environmental attorney. When I told her what was happening, she didn't even let me finish. "Michael, that's not overreach. That's fraud. Gather everything, photos, deeds, tax records. I'll drive up this weekend." Ray, my neighbor and family friend, showed up too with a shoebox full of yellowed clippings and photos. One headline read, "Local family builds pool on ranch property, kids invited to swim." There was my grandfather, cigarette behind his ear, standing proud beside the pool. Proof in black and white. For the first time I felt hope. We turned my dining room table into a war room, stacks of deeds, plats, receipts. Emma even dragged me to the county office and pulled certified maps showing Blake Ranch clearly outside the HOA boundaries. No wiggle room, no loopholes. And then Ray brought me a glossy flyer from his mailbox. Maple Rest Phase 2 Luxury Expansion. Right there on the mock-up was my pool photoshopped into their marketing pitch. They weren't just bullying me, they were selling my property to investors. That's when I realized this wasn't about neighborly access. It was a full-blown scheme. Act 3. The Showdown and Collapse. The next HOA meeting was standing room only. Karen strutted to the podium, hair-sprayed solid voice full of authority. She clicked her slides, new tennis courts, a clubhouse, and front and center. My pool. She said, "As you all know, this facility has always been part of our community vision." I stood up, calm, steady, holding the original 1965 deed in my hand. That facility is Blake Ranch property. It has never belonged to this HOA, and selling it as part of your plan is fraud. Gasps filled the room. Karen's face drained of color. Emma raised the county plats for everyone to see. The neighbors started whispering, then shouting. But Karen wasn't done. She dragged me into court. Maple Rest HOA versus Michael Blake. Her lawyer strutted in with glossy maps and violation notices. Historical usage, he argued. Community harmony. The judge cut him off. Do you have a deed? Silence. Emma rose calm and ruthless. One by one she laid down exhibits. The original deed. Certified county maps excluding Blake Ranch. Newspaper clippings from the 60s. Tax receipts showing 50 years of maintenance by my family. And the HOA's own glossy flyers photoshopped with my pool. When the judge slammed his gavel, the words echoed like thunder. The pool is private property. All fines, liens, and notices are void. The matter is referred for fraud investigation. Karen's clipboard trembled in her hands. Richard Wilkins, the slick developer behind her, slumped in his chair. Neighbors in the gallery muttered, "So she lied. We've been paying for nothing." And just like that, Karen's empire cracked wide open. The fallout was brutal. Local papers ran headlines. HOA misled residents, marketed private pool. The county audit revealed HOA funds spent on luxury retreats and bogus community engagement. Neighbors who once sided with Karen now turned on her demanding refunds, shouting fraud in meetings. On social media, memes of her community pool rules sign went viral. The once untouchable queen of clipboards had become a punchline. And the final blow, the county prosecutor opened a criminal investigation. Fraud, misrepresentation, misuse of funds. Board members resigned in droves. Karen's reign collapsed, not with grace, but with humiliation stripped bare in front of the very neighbors she'd manipulated. I didn't need to celebrate. Watching her shuffle papers with shaking hands while residents booed her off the podium, that was enough. Final beat. They tried to steal my family's legacy. Instead, they exposed their own fraud. And if you've ever had a Karen slap a notice on your door or an HOA try to take what's yours, you know exactly why I refuse to back down. So tell me, have you dealt with an HOA nightmare of your own? Drop your story in the comments, because the more we share, the harder it gets for these clipboard tyrants to hide behind fake authority.